You know, Greg, as president and CEO of the Hawai'i Theater Center, we're in your neighborhood here.
Very much. Chinatown is anchored on one side by the historic Hawai'i Theater Center, and the gateway to Chinatown, Dr. Sun Yat-sen Park.
So tell us a little bit more about Hawai'i Theater, its evolution, and where are you going now with that?
Well, the historic Hawai'i Theater was built and opened in 1922. So this year we're kicking off 99 years of existence. In 2022, it'll be our 100th anniversary, and we have a centennial celebration plan. The theater started out as a movie and vaudeville house. So on opening night in 1922, the first feature film that was supposed to be shown for the opening was The Three Musketeers. Unfortunately, the ship that it was on was still several miles offshore, so opening night wasn't able to kick off as they had hoped. And instead, a group of local opera singers came in and some Hawaiian musicians and made a tremendous celebration the best way that the folks here knew how at the time, which was really a kani kapila.
And Hawai'i Theater has gone through renovations. It's lived through a lot of the economic ups and downs of Honolulu. Where are you now in terms of building an audience, building not just performers, because we have lots of artists here?
Well, the Hawai'i Theater over the last several years has undergone a major transformation, starting with the reopening in 1996 under the leadership of Sarah Richards, who, along with Bob Midkiff and the entire community, raised $32 million to restore the theater to its current state and grandeur. It's now a community resource, so we're an independent nonprofit. We feature local productions, we feature music, concerts, we bring in major touring shows, and we also have a children's theater education program that helps to perpetuate the arts in our community.
Well, and with social media and with all the technology, it must be a bit of a challenge to have kids come and participate.
It's a big challenge, but it's a huge opportunity. We're able to connect with our audiences via social media. Over the last 3 years, we've grown our audience database from 20,000 people to nearly 100,000. So one of the spin-off benefits of everyone being shut in with COVID is that they were able to still come to the theater virtually through our live stream programming. They joined the theater and supporting it with their donations. And because of the community's support, they've helped us to be able to stay open and help support the programs like the Kids Education Program.
It's very exciting to hear. And there's nothing like being in the theater.
You know, it's really incredible to see the look on the young people's faces when they're on stage for the first time. And they look out on a sea of 1,400 seats, and they see these very grand, opulent gold rails and the beautiful green seats and the emblems and the ceiling of the theater. You see in their face the wonder and awe of being on stage for the first time. In a time when most kids' performances are done as selfies or on Instagram or YouTube, where they're trying to reach other people through very small format, having them come onto the stage and learn how to be a true performer on stage with a live audience is really remarkable. The kids are primed for it, and it helps with their learning and education by having them on stage working as a group to accomplish great things.
What thoughts can you have regarding how to develop that within the schools? Because not every school will value performing arts as a vehicle of learning.
I think that if we can have more teachers that are looking for opportunities like ours, and we recognize that teachers are stretched very thin with resources and time constraints and STEM education, but we can't leave arts out of education. The arts help to cue the imagination and the interest in students to continue to learn and also to express themselves in healthy and satisfying ways. We also recognize that the arts in education make a difference in children deciding if they're going to go on to higher education and find other ways for them to develop in their career paths. So for teachers, we hope that they would reach out to us and work with us in helping to secure additional funding to support their participation in our programs. Several of our very generous donors have set up programs to pay for buses for schools to come when we can have field trips again. In the meantime, we work with the schools and bringing the kids in on stage through the theater education program.
What is your sense about how downtown Honolulu is also honoring the arts and trying to revitalize not just the history, but the life downtown.
We need Chinatown to remain an authentic place for people to come enjoy. One of the things that we see in other districts, particularly that are driven by tourism, where you have commercial gentrification of the commercial areas, and we're losing the quaintness, we're losing the history of the place. George Kanahele called it the sense of place, Hawaii sense of place. And it's something that we in the Chinatown district take very seriously and recognize that we need to bring locals in to be able to enjoy the place. And we need the help of the city to help improve our access to the arts, help provide funding for centers like the Downtown Arts Center, where we've just gotten a great program set up, and now there are challenges they're facing with regard to funding. And then also help us in working with the less fortunate in our community that are unsheltered and are populating our streets, that have been pushed into Chinatown from other areas. We have a lot of challenges, but we also have a lot of opportunities.
Well, and it's kind of exciting, you know, that you're part of the leadership here. Some parting thoughts for the audience.
We want the audience to recognize that the Hawaii Theater is an independent nonprofit. We're only around because of their support. We don't receive any government funding for operations of the theater. And so consequently, we fund ourselves through programs and through memberships and community engagement. The arts have value. The Hawaii Theater has value. We're the last remaining historic show palace on Oahu. And we want the community to enjoy it and support it and recognize that as a part of a vibrant Chinatown, we are a necessity.
Thank you for being with us today and for sharing with us your leadership, but also your vision of what's possible.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Lada.
your time.
Aloha.
You just had the opportunity to meet Greg Dunn, who is the president and CEO of Hawaii Theater Center.